He is instead going to go for, well, Arbiters. That's what the Arbiter Tribunal is for. Imagine that. You know, I got a lot more factories coming up, so it does look like, obviously, there are still a few Marines running around, but this is going to become a game for factory. And we did have an armory going down a little bit ago, so we're going to have some Goliaths here pretty soon. And Goliaths, in numbers, do very well against Dragoons. Individually, they don't, but once you get a couple of them, then the increased rate of fire, and they're pretty durable. So this Dragoon force is going to need some reinforcement if it's going up against siege tanks and Dragoons. Although that reinforcement may come in the form of this Reaver. Reaver do very well against Goliath. So it's going to become a question of what happens to the Reaver. When the Reaver's in the shuttle, it's going to be very, very vulnerable against Goliath fire. When the Reaver is not, then it's going to do very, very well against Goliaths. Although this, all this discussion may be for nothing because we don't have Goliaths out yet. I'm just saying he has the potential to make them. And ooh, I really want to see a Scarab go in there, because it would do so much damage to so many tanks. But obviously, it would get killed trying to get in range. So not going to see that. And there's the engineering base scouting out, seeing a lot of Dragoons and getting hit by a lot of Dragoons. So Shuttle is inching up. Shuttle, you are not a combat unit. What are you doing? Don't inch up on him like that. We do have a couple of siege tanks going out, and it looks like, okay, we're not going to have a dead Reaver. I thought we might. That shuttle just picked him up just in time. That Reaver was about to get hit by about 5 siege tanks. And Reavers, they look really well armored, and there's a lot of stuff around them, but they're really not. Reavers go down like a chocolate kitten. I just made up a new saying. I don't know where it came from, but it was good. Okay, so we're having a little bit of build up. Right now, Perfectman does have a contain on Midas. Perfectman has map control. It looks like he may actually be expanding again. There's some, red blobs down at the lower left. So, although I think those are actually just scouting to make sure Midas doesn't get any more bases. Because right now, Perfectman has a base up on Midas, and I think Midas only has 3 bases, so that's actually really good. Generally, I've said it before, when Terran has about 4 bases, Protoss have about 5, but 3 to 4 means it is in favor of Protoss. And it does look like Midas is going to be pushing out here, and he's going to be doing pretty well on this push. There's a lot of troops out there, but Zealots and Dragoons really do not hold up well against, siege tanks and with the Vulture and Goliath support. So yeah, Perfectman's going to have to pull back. Perfectman's going to have to slow this push down, and honestly, I'm not going to say that, Midas is not in a position to win the game right here, I don't think. Especially now with Goliaths here. He's going to need some science vessels, or a lot of scans. And he has a lot of scans, but it's difficult. And that Dragoon forgot to go with his friends. That Dragoon decided he needed to, have some breakfast or something, and got absolutely destroyed. So, Perfectman has pulled his troops out to the side, and so we may be looking at a base race right here, because Midas is going in. Or either a base race or a pincer attack. And it does look like, yeah, some of the, okay, the troops are coming back in order to engage this. I don't really know, I actually would have said Midas should go for the base race, because whenever there's a base race, Terran does very well. Terran with siege tanks just absolutely dismantle Protoss bases, but at the same time, it does look like Midas does have a 5th base up, so it may have been better. Perfectman could have gone in and just disabled Midas's base and then pulled out and stopped his army. So, probably ultimately better this way. And that is a lot of spider mines. He's going to have a bad day if he tries to go in there. Okay, it does look like, for the most part, Midas's army got killed. I mean, there are still some, but that is a much weaker army. And really, Perfectman's army Midas's army didn't get destroyed that much. I mean, there were some losses, but his army is still intact and is now moving into command space. So, before a second ago, I said Midas was not in a position to win this game. That exchange changed that. Midas is definitely he's pushing the main right now. And Perfectman has a lot of his gateways right up front, and those gateways are going to go down. So this is going to cripple Perfectman's production capabilities. And yeah, here come his troops are trying to come back now in order to prevent this. That was a very nice stasis. That stasis looks like it was 6 tanks and then another 6 tanks, or maybe that was 5. So the gateways did go down, but the main will not be pushed. And there's plenty more gateways in the main. Those were just his initial ones. So it does look like this Midas' push is going to get shut down here. Although Perfectman suffered pretty major losses. He was reeling on his back foot, although it looks like he's recovered. So no economic damage, but he did lose 2 of his gateways. He may have already replaced those though. So there are plenty of gateways back in the main. So I would not say that Perfectman is in a position to, lose right now, but the push is still on and troops are still coming up. So if Midas can save these siege tanks, and it looks like he's going to be able to. These siege tanks were not in a position to be killed as soon as they unstasis, and that provides a huge boost to this reinforcing army. Normally when you stasis, you'll have troops in the area right when they unstasis and just clean them up. But no, these troops, are being augmented and put back into Midas's army. So Midas is back on the push again. It looks like Midas got pushed back, but he's, his reinforcements came in, he pushed the Protoss back, and he's able to, continue pushing into the main. If he can take out the main, then this game is over. And right now, his push is slowed down. I don't know if he's going to be able to breach the main itself, but he is in the natural, and he's got vultures at the choke point. So reinforcements are having a hard time getting to the natural to reinforce. There's siege tanks coming in, and there's just waves of siege tanks. So as you go in, you keep getting in range of more and more of them. So your troops have a very hard time coming in. There are troops coming in from his 6 o'clock base, but too little, too late. It looks like. So the main is not actually under fire yet, but the natural is. The natural is gone actually, and it looks like the. No, that is the natural. I don't know what I'm on. I'm not on anything good. I don't know this map very well, if you can't tell. There's another pretty good stasis. It's not as good as the first one, it only got 4 siege tanks, but that might just be enough. It does look like this is now going to get cleaned up, but man, that was a lot of damage and a lot of fear, I guess you would say. But once again, here comes some reinforcements, and we're going to be in the same situation again. If the reinforcements can push the Protoss back, then, when these siege tanks unstasis, they will once again just be huge. And Arbiter, don't take on a Goliath. Alright, your position in battle is not to, help the enemy, or not to take out the enemy, it's to make your own troops harder to kill. And yeah, Midas is doing really well right now, but he desperately needs more scan. These cloak troops are just eating his lunch. So, get a science vessel or something, man. Your scans are just not there when you need them. So once again, he is pushing the natural. We've got a reverse contain going on right now, and oh, hey, it looks like some vultures actually went down to the 6 o'clock, and there are no probes binding there. So if he can take this out, then he's going to be in excellent position. Because, right now, Midas only has really 1 base. His main is mined out, and, his natural has been cleaned up. Or sorry, his 6 o'clock's been cleaned up, and his natural is under fire. So if Midas can actually successfully push these, then, and those arbiters are taking a lot of harass from those Goliaths. If those arbiters go down, it's over. The arbiters are the only thing really keeping Midas alive right now. And there's the hero siege tanks that took out that natural. Or 6 o'clock. It's so close, I want to call it the natural, but it's not. So, and yeah, it looks like wow, on the mini-map it actually looks like Midas has the 6 o'clock, but no, that's just the troops he has right there. And Arbiter, you're going to survive, but just barely. The Arbiter may be going out for a recall. That would not be a bad idea now, although honestly, I think if he recalls his troops, he's going to lose the game. So I guess that does make it a bad idea, doesn't it, guys?